I'm coming back. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've spent the last 4 years, 8 years in a very structured organization where I was trained to be a leader. Now I'm coming back. What's my purpose? What's my why? What am I going to do?
There's the additional benefit of some financial assistance.
Correct.
Where a normal franchise model, like it's a good thing on its own, right? Like I know people with franchises that they get the whole systems and processes, and that's the hardest part about business. Like it's either this or take 5 years to bust your head against the cement wall. Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown, and this is the Hook Better Leads podcast. And today I'm talking with Phil Pratt about a roofing franchise opportunity that's only for veterans. And Phil, I'd love to get a little bit of your background on what led you guys to this idea.
Yeah. So a little quick history on where it started, where I came from. I've been in the roofing industry for years. Was a contractor myself, looking for an easier way of generating leads, getting customers and whatnot. That drove me down the technology side. As many folks are aware, and some I'm sure are not. I've been in that field for the last 10 years, building out drone technology, trying to, I guess, standardize the way our inspections are. There was always the goal of getting a better name in the industry, trying to capture more customers, differentiate myself. And one of my customers over the years was a guy by the name of Kyle Conti. He owns VC Veterans Contracting out of Richmond, Kentucky. They're a platinum contractor down there, and it has done very well over the years. Was wanting to expand. He wanted to grow outside of Richmond, where he currently is, and he asked me. Well, let me back up just a second. In the world we live in today, there's a lot of companies out there trying to buy roofing companies. So a lot of PE out there, and he had been approached multiple times, and he felt like this company has always been something that he wanted to be able to pass down to his boys, give them something. And so he wasn't thrilled about selling his company, but knew that he was kind of in one lane and wanted to definitely to grow. And so he asked me about franchising. And at the time I was at a company called SiteView. We did drone inspections and drone technology for the roofing industry. And but he asked me to come on and help him run this. And it got me thinking, I've spent all this time building drone technology, and this could be a piece for veterans, for the disabled vets, to give them a tool to get out and do more, not sit their house looking for a purpose. Hey, we've got something for you. We've got something that can easily be trained on. Hit a button, do the inspection, and so that's kind of where my piece came in, was the technology side.
I'll just give a little outside perspective on that particular technology, SiteView. Like every time, you and I at trade shows showing it to people, kind of mind blowing. It's pretty crazy advancement. Very, I don't know, is it AI driven? Very, kind of like it does a lot of the work for you. It's got you can turn up the sensitivity, turn down the sensitivity on damage, and can create reports essentially also for insurance companies, from what I understand. Kind of a wild advancement in the industry. So I absolutely could see why that would be so powerful for disabled vets.
Yeah. And it's, again, it was built for, you don't need to be a professional pilot. Just hop in there. Quick training, hit a button, does the inspection for you, creates the reports, gets them out. But that's kind of how I got pulled in, and I'm currently, my role with them is COO, working both with the contracting company, his roofing company, and also building out battalion brands.
Amazing.
Yep.
And talk to me a little bit more about the problem that it helps solve, like this idea of a in the box roofing franchise opportunity for veterans. Why do you think there's a need now? And I'll share, like, a guy at the gym was just talking to me about, like, he consults with veterans coming back, like sometimes the job that you had in the military doesn't quite line up with
Yep.
what's available out there.
Yep.
But like, it's like, all right, well, we got guys that can work really hard, that are no stranger to like sweat and effort, but like maybe they don't know exactly how this ties back into, you know, civilian life.
Yeah, and that's a similar story that I hear now on a daily basis. Me personally, it's not something that I can say that I lived through. I'm not a veteran myself. Most people in our organization are. I bring in the roofing side and the technology side and do what I can to help.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, what you said is exactly right. I hear that, you know, I'm coming back. I don't know what I'm going to do. I've spent the last 4 years, 8 years, 10, 16, however long, in a very structured organization where I was trained to be a leader. Now I'm coming back. What's my purpose? What's my why? What am I going to do? You hear, I don't want to go in and get some corporate gig and then just be a cog in the whole machine. I'm trained to be a leader. I need a position that can allow me to use the skills that I've, was given over their experience in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one big piece of why we're doing this. I wish we had Kyle on. Maybe we can have him on next time. But one thing that he showed me, and it is kind of personal to him, but it meant a whole lot to me. And I understand this is kind of his why. He did 2 tours in Iraq. He was in Fallujah and Ramadi. He was a Marine. He was down in the shit, for lack of better words. And his team had sent out, it was late last year, sent out a little TikTok or a YouTube video that showed kind of a memorial to all of his teammates that had passed away in Iraq, the ones that had passed away in Afghanistan, and then the next page was the ones that had passed away since. And that list was 2 to 3 times longer than the ones that actually died in war. And yeah, and I mean, you hear the stories about suicide rates in the military, but it's a real thing. And he lost more brothers outside of war than what he actually did when he was in the Battle of Ramadi, which, I mean, that was pure hell, from what I hear. And so that right there was a big reason for me too. Is these guys? I don't want to see somebody come back and just be lost. We go through struggles every day. You own your own business. I own my own business. It's not fun, but it's not something that I'm going to sit there and think, God, you know, the world is over. I just can't do this anymore. And we need to be able to give those guys support. You know, officers in the military, a lot of them, they've got programs for them set up when they get out to help with finding jobs and whatnot. But your day-to-day infantrymen, your guys that are out there in it on a day-to-day basis, they don't necessarily have the means to get into a lot of these programs, from what I'm being told. And so this is something that we can open up and offer to these veterans when they're returning. And our model is a little bit different than a lot of your other franchise models, where maybe you go to a broker and you say, I got this much money. I want to be my own boss. Where do I go? We're doing things a little bit different with the startup costs. We have a nonprofit where we're working with a lot of large corporations to help curb the startup cost and not give them that burden right up front of all right, I got to pay back this SBA loan. I've got to get all this stuff done. We don't want that. We are actually opening locations in targeted areas. Then we're going to find the right candidate to run that location, as long as they meet their the metrics that we set out there for them to meet. They are working towards ownership of that location, so they will be franchise owners after they go through their training and onboarding and work in the business for a year, 2 years.
RoofCon is definitely the best conference I've ever attended, and I've been to several. We go to several every single year.
I bought the tickets. I said, we're going.
This year they broke 5,000 tickets, so it's growing bigger and bigger every single year.
If you're not here, I don't know where you're at.
Definitely coming back 2024. See you then.
RoofCon, the #1 conference for the roofing and solar community, is coming back to Orlando October 23rd through 25th, 2024. Get your tickets today at roofcon.com.
So there's the additional benefit of some financial assistance. Correct. Where a normal franchise model, like, it's a good thing on its own, right? Like I know people with franchises that they get the whole systems and processes, and that's the hardest part about business. Like, it's either this or take 5 years to bust your head against the cement wall.
Exactly.
With the small business, that's what it is, until you figure out like kind of some rhythm on some things. Some people never do.
Yep.
So the fact that you can kind of give them those systems and then also potentially that financial assistance, which is really cool. And then that part's a nonprofit. So let's say if I wanted to give can I pledge some money to that? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
So like other people that are listening or watching this too, could consider, if they want to, they have giving goals for their organization or something like that. This is a great one in the roofing industry. There's not that many, by the way, that I know of. There's a couple. We just did to, what is it? Construction Angels and Roofers in Recovery. But could I pledge? I don't know if I'm going to be able to give it at this exact moment, but like by the end of the year,
absolutely, yes,
I'll live pledge $2,500 to. And do I do it to Battalion Brands, or what is the nonprofit part?
VCI, Veterans Contractor Initiative.
All right.
Yep, and that is in place to help veterans that are looking to get into the trades. It's not specific to our franchises,
Okay.
but our franchises do work with it to help curb those costs. And also, we offer a lot outside of just starting up a company. We have programs for mental health support. We have programs that one thing that Kyle is really bringing to this is the knowledge of some of these set-aside work, some of these set-aside jobs that the government has for veterans specifically. You have to get set up inside of, I think it's the VA. You have to get set up with them. There's a certain path you have to go down, but we're doing that for these vets and having work set aside for them prior to even getting into business.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of really cool things. My God. And I mean, entrepreneurship is, not to put it lightly, but it's a little bit of a battlefield sometimes. And like, if you're used to a crazy stress or whatever, like, you actually have an advantage in a weird way, but you do need I mean, like, I believe in therapy and, other things you can do for your mental health. But so, like, you need a little support. You need support when you're going to, as an entrepreneur, whether it's a coach or a mentor, or, God, it's nice to have a little bit of support.
Oh yeah. 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 Our ultimate goal, Tim, is to build a campus of sorts or a retreat that this is where all of our guys are going to come train. There's going to be, lodging on site, and then it's going to be a large, probably barn or warehouse facility where we'll have models set up to go do hands-on training for in the field stuff. But we're also putting in classrooms for your business training, for, who knows? But go ahead.
Last question on that donation thing. If we donate to VCI, can we earmark it for Battalion Brands or no? Like, will they allow us to, like?
I'm not sure on that, but I'll find out.
Okay, that'd be sweet, because I think, like, I just told Bia to do it, so I want to make sure we do whatever we're supposed to do to make sure it gets to you guys.
Yep. Yeah. I'll get all that information over to you.
Awesome. And let's keep on contrasting, like, franchise opportunities too with starting your own business. So why do this instead of that, I guess, is the question. Why just open a separate business on your own? Like, why not do that instead of this?
I'm going to point to something that you said and something that I said earlier on in this. Being your own or opening your own business, being an entrepreneur, everybody thinks it sounds great. It's not always the easiest thing to do, especially when you're starting from zero. Typical path for a lot of roofing owners in our industry here is I started out as a salesman for one company. I learned their way of doing things. I can do it better. I'm going to go do it myself. But then you're looking at your insurance, your platforms, your programs, you're getting set up with a manufacturer, getting set up with the right distributor, which they're all great. I'm not going to be throwing any shout outs to anybody specific here today, but it's having the knowledge of where to go and what to use. We've gone through what programs don't work, what programs do work. We've talked about this before. There's so much out there in the industry right now. How do you choose what CRM? How do you choose what marketing agency to go with? How do I choose? There's so many choices out there. It's almost overwhelming when you're getting started. But when you go in with a franchise, you've already got a lot of that work done for you on the front end.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Well, speaking of just like ways to get started with this, if somebody wanted to come do this with you, if somebody's watching or listening now and would like to do this, what's the next step for them? And what does the process look like?
They can either go on our site. Now the Battalion Brands site is newly made and it's not complete yet, or they can go onto the Veterans Contracting. It's veteranscontractingllc.com is the website. You can go on there and fill out one of our forms, and we will reach out and set up a discovery call with you.
Awesome. And like the first couple steps into that process, what do those look like so that they can understand kind of what the process would be like?
Location. Where are you planning on putting this? Funding. How are you planning on getting funding? I don't go in right off the bat and say, "Hey, it's free," because it's not, right? There's sweat equity. There's stuff that we can offer that you can do yourself. But best way to go is: am I going traditional loan? Am I rolling over some 401k? Do I want to get into this CEO path of where I am placed as a GM in a location until I work my way towards owning my own? We've got options on how you want to start. So that would be the first two.
Is there any chance that somebody that already has a small fledgling roofing company would want to join up with this if they saw the opportunity, or is this only for people that are starting afresh?
Contractors love the catch-all because it makes every single one of their roof builds easier and more profitable. Protective netting wraps facade and landscaping to prevent from left-behind nails and damage. Homeowner referrals bring you more jobs, and insurance supplements bring you more profits. But my favorite part, the branding.
That's a good question. We would definitely not turn you down. We would love to hear your story. But it is very, this isn't one of a free for all kind of franchise where we're going to set you up. If you've got the money, we're going to set you up. That's not the case. It is very selective. We do go through different candidates for specific areas. But yes, they could fill it out. It doesn't matter if they're already in the industry or not. The only prerequisite though is that you are a veteran.
Well, that's beautiful, man. I'm proud of you guys for taking a new kind of direction, a new shot. Is there any precedent for this around? Were you inspired by anything? Is there something like this in other niches, or where'd you find this idea?
There's a lot of stuff that's out there for veterans. I'm sure you see it all the time, but nothing really in our industry, in our market that caters to that. You do have your other franchises out there, and they're great for what they are. Ours is just going to be more focused on the person, being able to build them up, give them a purpose, and give them a future. We want them to be stable and supported, as I'm sure other franchise models do too. But it's definitely a more deeper dive focus on the veterans.
Yeah, and you guys are, I mean, like, think about the opportunity for folks out there who are looking for great people that aren't scared of, climbing up on a roof and doing some stuff. Like, there's ultimately, like, there is a lot of opportunity for other companies to be looking at these, there's veterans organizations that you can go look at and see if maybe might be a good place to hire out of. A lot of them have discipline, a lot of them have work ethic.
Yep.
And so there's an element of, like, if you haven't looked at the organizations in your area serving veterans, consider checking them out. Like that guy at my gym was talking about, that every Monday or something like that, they have like you can kind of come in and talk to the veterans and see if there's anybody that might be a good fit for you. It's basically like a job fair that happens kind of regularly.
Yeah.
And so there's things like that available.
Yeah, we're involved with that. I think it's called TAPS, where when they come back over, you'll go through some classes. It's almost like a semi job fair deal. But yes, we are involved in that as well.
Awesome. And yeah, just kind of throwing that out there for other folks too. Like keep this an option for people, like, to grab people for your organization. I know some people are struggling finding good salespeople, finding people with good work ethic. So,
that's a good point. And something that we look at too is, I went to school, went to college, got a degree. I played baseball and I drank. You can edit that out. But I mean, anybody can come in with a degree. That doesn't mean that you have put that sweat in. That doesn't mean that you've got that type of foundation that's been built. If I know that you've come through the military, you've done at least 4 years of leadership training, right? You've got a good foundation that we can build off of. And so that's another reason why I'm excited to work with the veterans, is, being able to edit that out.
Very good. Yeah, I usually just wait a second and let it. Yeah, there's a lot of discipline and work ethic that comes from just looking at these guys. Look at what else, what else can we do to involve more of them in the roofing industry? I mean, there's a lot of roofing business owners that were veterans. It's kind of a good spot, it feels like. It says, but there's a lot of great people in the roofing industry from here, so it's like we should push into it.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. That's the plan.
Hey, Phil, I know that you also have worked with Hook Agency. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to ask you a few questions about that. So if other people are considering working with Hook Agency, that they can understand what we might do that's a little different than other folks. So the first question I've got is, what was it like switching to Hook Agency? And let's say even just getting like logins and getting set up as far as like our attention to detail.
Yeah, no, Hook Agency has been phenomenal to work with. Starting from what you just said, starting from the very beginning, it has been extremely professional. Everything is very organized. You hit your dates. It's been a pleasure to work with. And if you want to know the difference between what it was like before to what it is now, just go to our website, www.veteranscontractingllc.com. And then you can go to Battalion Brands website. Battalion Brands, I just put together. Hook's team put together the Veterans Contracting website, and it's phenomenal. They listened to everything that I had asked and delivered more. That is another thing I can say about Hook is you definitely undersell yourself. It is no other company that I've worked with. We have monthly calls, I think, and just to have sitting down with Claudia and going over the past month's metrics. You guys hold yourself accountable more than any other company that I've worked with out there on your deliverable, which is very, very difficult to do with SEO. I mean, it's one of those things where you got to know, hey, it's going to take a while. But seeing the growth month over month and seeing what your team has been able to do, it's second to none in the industry.
Does Hook do what they say they're going to do? How is quality?
I think I answered that in the last one, but Hook definitely does what they say that they're going to do and more. It has been, I tell you, just the traffic on the site has, I think it's gone up like 400%, 500. I can't even remember. You've got the numbers, but what you guys have been able to do, just basic traffic on the site has been phenomenal.
Awesome. Well, we're kind of early in the relationship, I guess. How long has it been since we started working with you guys?
Shoot. When was
like 6 months?
First of the year. Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months. So that's pretty cool. You got early indicators of great growth. And yeah, we really like working with you, Phil. And we really appreciate you being part of the Hook family. I wish you could be up here in a few weeks. We're doing an open house. So if you're planning on flying around over here for some reason, feel free to swing by. It's on a Saturday. But nonetheless, just really grateful to have you as a client. And it's cool to see you guys doing big things. And guys, get after it. Get after it. If you're a veteran, please give them a call. Talk to them about this opportunity at least. I think you'd be doing yourself a favor to have a great company on your side to kind of get over that initial hump, which is just actually really tough in entrepreneurship. So, well, thank you, sir. I hope you have a great day. And one more time, if you don't mind saying the .com.
Yeah. It's veterans with an S. So veteranscontractingllc.com. Or you can go to vcroofs.com.
vcroofs.com. Awesome. And the podcast is put on by hookagency.com, Hook Agency all over social media. Thank you very much. Please like, comment, subscribe, all the things. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.